Yo, what up, squad? Now this right here, man, is the brand new, well, I guess it's kind of new, but this is the refreshed, refined ASUS ROG Ally X. Now you guys are probably sitting there and you're like, wait a minute, CKid, didn't they already release an ROG Ally back in June of last year? And yeah, you will be right. And you might remember I actually did a review on that. I did some gaming setup and talking about all of that with the ROG Ally. And as much as I love that handheld right there, I had to actually send it back, man, and return it because of some of the issues that I was actually having with it, mainly being around battery life. Like, I personally like for devices to have good battery life. But man, let me tell you, ASUS listened to some of those issues that I complained about in that video, and they fixed pretty much all of my issues with this new revised version of the ROG Ally X, which is what I personally think the PlayStation Portal should have been all along, because this by far is my favorite gaming handheld on the market and why it actually even beat out the Steam Deck for me. So let's talk about it. Now, the first thing we got to talk about, right, and that is the design of the ROG Ally X versus something like the ROG Ally, which is the first gen, and why it's just a whole lot better in my personal opinion, right? Now, when it comes to gaming handhelds in general, right, the first thing that is a huge turnoff for me just will make me send it back, and that is the overall grip. Because when I'm in my game, right, and I have to keep adjusting my hands all the time and it just don't feel right in my hands, I'm instantly turned off from it, from a console in itself. Now, on the ROG Ally, right, the OG one, although ASUS sent this one here out to me to get on the channel with you guys, I always got to keep it funky. I got to keep it real, got to keep it honest with you guys. The OG one ergonomically was not the best in my opinion. Like, the back of it just kind of had this no butt to it, right? Like, it was just flat. And I'm just a guy that, you know, like, it's gotta have some curves to it, right? And the one that had no curves was just not it. Now, the Ally X here, this is the one that's got the curves to it. It's just much better of a grip and just feels way better in my hands. Also, when it came to playing campaign mode of Mortal Kombat, because I'm still over here trying to finish that game, I noticed that the AXYB buttons here, they got a little bit more kind of key travel to them, which just makes it a whole lot better for button presses when gaming. Even when it comes to the joysticks, right? Like, I feel like these also got an upgrade with the Hall Effects kit that's on them, which makes it a little more precise, and they will also last a whole lot longer than something like your traditional joysticks, which is a W, because we ain't trying to have no stick drift over here. PlayStation, excuse me. I'm just playing, y'all, it's all love. Now, the D-pad here also got an upgrade as well from the OG one, which was something else I didn't care too much for with the OG Ally versus something like the Ally X here. Then once I got off that Mortal Kombat, right, I switched over to more competitive style games like Call of Duty, which you guys already know I'm a huge fan of. Coming to the live stream here pretty soon, because your boy about to be live streaming here a lot. But anyway, the trigger buttons here on the top here, I did notice that they did have a design change, and I felt like it felt a little bit more natural to me when playing more competitive style games. Although, I gotta be real, I do feel like systems like this isn't really made to play Call of Duty on. I just prefer to play those on PC or my PS5 just for other comfortable reasons. Like, I feel like gaming handhelds like this is more for like storyline RPG style games or sports games, or like Apex Legends, Call of Duty, stuff like that. I just feel like you're gonna have more of a better gaming experience when you're playing those style games or indie style games versus being docked to a PC or a PS5. Or if you even dock this ROG Ally X, if you dock it in like this and you plug it in, then you're gonna be good to go there as well. I just feel like more RPG storylines type of games is more so what these are made for versus more super competitive games, if that makes sense. Now, the next thing I want to kind of talk about is the screen in itself. Now, to me, the screen looks good. Now, I got to keep it a bean. I got to keep it 100 with y'all. I got to be honest. I got to keep it funky. I like the screen on the ROG Ally X as it looks good, but if I was comparing it to something like the Steam Deck, because to me, that is the bar, I do feel like that OLED display on the Steam Deck still has my heart and it's still my favorite go-to. Now, I know this one right here, y'all, is not the ROG Ally 2, but this is more of a slight improvement model versus something like the Gen 2 model. So I would hope to actually see the OLED display here on the Gen 2 model, but for this model right here, I would say you can expect a bright display, a bright screen, and good colors, even when you guys are gaming at 60 60 FPS or even 120 FPS. I just felt like the overall gameplay on here was smooth, which we're gonna touch on that here in a second. But I gotta give credit to them, man. On this screen, I found myself gaming at 60 frames a lot versus 120 frames, and the quality to me still looked good. Now, some of those reasons was to actually test out performance as well as the battery life as to why I was kind of flip-flopping between those two, but the screen quality in itself did not disappoint, and it did not take a hit on just how smooth it felt. So to me, the screen quality on the ROG Ally X, man, is really good. But y'all, I'm still waiting on ASUS to drop that OLED model on us on the ROG Ally 2, hopefully. So ASUS, if you're watching, you know, we need that. Make that happen. Now let's go ahead and just talk about performance, because regardless of how this bad boy looks, which don't get me wrong, I think it looks good in this all black over the white OG model. We also got new buttons here. We got some curves on it. It's finally got some figure. If it doesn't perform right, then it's going back to the store with the quickness regardless of all of that, because at the end of the day, this bad boy still costs $800, shillings, skrilla, that's paper, ducats, whatever you want to call it. What I'm getting at, it's a bag, y'all. So with my testing here, I've played a shit ton of games, man, on here, and I can say without a doubt, the gaming performance was smooth as butter. Now, I say that with having an understanding of what each game actually needs to be at when it comes to the wattage output. So on the side panel here, if we guys press this right here, you guys have the ability to be able to change the different wattage outputs that's needed per each game that you guys play. So obviously higher battery wattage basically is going to use more of your battery life that it's going to take. But what I like that ASUS actually did here with this handheld is because it now has double the battery size from the OG Ally. They were able to actually increase the wattage output from each tier except the turbo mode, which remained at 25 watts. Unplugged in, and then when you plug it in, it's 30 watts. The silent mode is now 13 watts from 11 watts on the OG Ally, and then the performance mode, which to me is the perfect sweet spot for this bad boy when playing most games, is primarily where I keep mine at. You get 17 watts here on the output versus 15 wattage outputs from the OG Ally. And I know what you guys are thinking, yo, CKid, there's no way that 2 watts would actually make that big of a difference. Listen, when I tell you on the OG model, most of the games that I play, I had to play it in a turbo mode or plugged in, because if it wasn't in turbo mode, I would have some type of slight performance issues. But the other thing you got to remember, when you guys put it in that turbo mode, the battery life on the OG model will actually last maybe about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe. But because the Ally X here has double the battery size and battery life with a larger 80 watt hour battery in it, I'm actually able to take advantage of the battery size as well as the increase in wattage to either play on silent mode or play in the performance mode without my battery actually taking a crazy hit like it was on the OG Ally. I'm telling y'all, I'm not glazing here, man, y'all. It is really that much better when it comes to the battery. And let's just stay again on battery here for a little bit, because I don't really want to like quickly gloss over, you know, or glaze over how good the battery is. The battery life on this thing right here, y'all, is damn good, y'all. Like, I'm not just saying that. Like, listen, y'all. So I was like, the other day, I was literally just laying in bed and I sat there and I was on Netflix, man, and I literally watched like the Selena docuseries. It was actually pretty good. If you guys haven't checked that out, it was fire. But I watched literally an entire one season, or first part of that, which I think was like 9-hour episodes, and I was actually able to get through every single one of those, and then like 2 additional episodes on part 2, which again was a whole nother 9 episodes. So 11 hour-long episodes I was able to actually watch on here with no problem. Now I will say, if you guys are using Netflix, there was one issue that I did face with it, was the voice syncing with the mouth in the show or the video or whatever you guys are watching. Now, I recommend, in order to fix this, what you guys have to do is you have to place it in CPU boost. You have to turn that on, and then also keep the refresh rate at 120. And when I did that, it fixed the issue of the voice sync with not syncing up in Netflix. But again, it did take a slight battery hit by turning the CPU boost on. But overall, y'all, the battery on it was still fire. I still was able to get through a whole 9 episodes on a single battery, which was insane. Nonetheless, the battery life on it is fire. Even I told y'all, right? Like, I was playing Mortal Kombat in 120 frames, and for about 3 days straight, y'all, with playing just a few hours here, then I would get off of it and sit it down, and then I would play for maybe another hour here, and then I would put it down. And the reason why I really did all of that is because I wanted to really test out and do more of a realistic approach, because let's be honest, no one's going to sit on this thing for 11 hours and just game at one time, because I just think that would just be overkill. But I really wanted to test it in the performance of how a normal user would actually use it and just kind of how long it would last, as well as I wanted to see just how the battery would actually perform as far as leakage. Like if I just sit it on my desk, right, and I just have it in standby mode, like is it actually going to leak a whole lot of battery life, or is it going to hold a lot of that juice? And to me, it held a lot of that battery life, man, and passed that test with flying colors. So kudos to them, man, over there for all of that. So if you guys are actually looking for, in my personal opinion, I'm actually gonna go on record and say this: for all of the gaming handhelds that I've tested the MSI Claw, which I still have over here. I've tested the Steam Deck, the ASUS ROG Ally, the Ally X now, as well as the PlayStation Portal, y'all. You know, I gotta throw that in there too. Don't hate, it's all love. But it is by far the best in battery life that I've personally experienced for what it can actually do by having its own processor in it. So if you guys are looking for good battery life in a gaming handheld PC device, this is the one, man, no question. Now, again, y'all, I told y'all, regardless of if ASUS sent this to me to review, I'm always going to keep it a bean. I'm always going to keep it funky and real with you guys. The dock that they included with this bad boy, now the one I'm using right here is not the dock that came with it. This is one that I purchased. I'll have a link for that down in the description section below that you can check out. But hold on, let me just get the dock for y'all so y'all can see what I'm talking about before I get into saying what I'm about to tell y'all. Hold on one second. Now, ASUS, y'all know I love y'all, right? But y'all need y'all bustables for this one, because we got to talk about this. Now, I understand that having just the one white cardboard piece in the box was not the sturdiest. So this time, instead of them actually coming up with more of an aluminum style stand, or putting maybe like a kickstand here on the back of the Ally X here, they gave us not one, but they gave us two stands. But I don't necessarily like it. And I got to be real with y'all, because if I'm not, I feel like things won't necessarily get better for the next gen. So I got to speak up for you guys since I'm in the position to be able to do so. ASUS, I need you guys. I love y'all, man, but I need you guys to improve the stand on the Ally 2nd gen. Please. Like, I do not want to see cardboard stands in the 2nd gen, or y'all getting these buckets again. I got love for y'all, man, but y'all know, you know, for $800, y'all could have definitely put something, you know, a little bit more sturdier in the box, because, you know, these bad boys right here, this ain't it. And if you guys want to actually get this stand right here, I'll have a link for this down in the description section below that you can pick up. Highly, highly recommend you guys get this for either, you know, your Ally X, your Ally, or also it'll work for something like your PlayStation Portal as well, if that's something you guys want to do. But yeah, man, I highly recommend this stand. Link for it down in the description section below. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and that is sound quality. Now, it mentions that the speakers are louder as well as richer, but from my testing, I gotta be perfectly honest with y'all, man. The OG Ally speakers were already goated and the best, in my opinion, that was out there. And I love the fact that they were front firing speakers and they carried that one over to this model right here. And I'm happy that they did that. But I gotta be honest with y'all, do they actually sound better? I don't know, maybe. Like, to me, I didn't feel like I heard that big of a difference to me. And if it is, it's so slight to the point where I didn't personally really notice it. But again, that's like a testament to the OG Ally speakers to me, whereas to me, they were already goated. So I didn't really need any changes there. So I would say, to say with these speakers here, the Ally X here, still goated, you ain't gonna have no problems with the speakers. Now, there's three other things that I want to actually talk about real quick before I give you guys my thoughts on if I actually feel that you guys should scoop up this handheld here or not. And at number 3, it can now accept full-size Gen 4 2280 M.2 SSD drives, which is a huge bonus because, for one, it's cheaper in cost, and I'm all about saving money, and I can easily upgrade my storage now to 4 terabytes, even though it can support up to 8 terabytes. But you know that 8 terabyte gonna cost a bag. But even though they gave us the bump in storage from 500 gigabytes to internally now to 1 terabyte, which I love the fact that they did that, because you guys already know these games are getting bigger and bigger. But after a few of these larger games, you're going to eventually run out of that 1 terabyte. So I recommend you guys increase your storage internally, so that way you guys will be able to focus on gaming versus running out of storage. Then at number 2, they added larger intake vents as well as additional airflow channels and a 3rd exhaust vent, which will overall, y'all, is going to increase the performance as well as prevent this handheld here from getting hot in your hands over a long period period of use, which is something that I can definitely say when using this for a long period of time, I definitely didn't experience any like heating up in my hands or just overheating at all, which is a W in my book. And the number one thing that I love that they added to this, which if you guys listen to me here, now I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I didn't get it how I actually wanted to get it because I really wanted it to be to whereas I can still get a power output to the actual ROG Ally while I'm still gaming and stuff like that. But for some reason, with the setup of how I did it, it's not actually working. So I tried running a cable that's plugged into the top up here that was actually giving it power, but for some reason, whenever I plugged my display port in to the back of the monitor and then I ran it into the other device that I have, for some reason, it just wasn't being able to give output for picture quality up here. So I had to go ahead and decide against that. Well, now they've given us a second USB-C port that is a USB 4 port with 40 gigabytes per second transfer speeds and can support Thunderbolt E GPUs, which will give you even more of a higher performance and gaming quality. Like, I'm here to tell you, bro, this handheld right here, y'all, is a freaking beast. But what I love most about this right here with the added USB-C port is now I can actually plug this bad boy here into a monitor and I can build out a full gaming desk setup with the ROG Ally X, and I can output that to a larger display at the same time, giving me charging speed, giving me high charging as well as higher turbo mode in that 30-watt output, which is something we couldn't do with the OG Ally unless you actually had the additional adapter, which you guys can see that I have right here. Now you guys don't need it, and you know, it's gonna save you some extra money. But overall, right, I know you're probably sitting there, you wonder, you're like, CKid, should I still buy the Ally X with everything you just said? All right, so I'm gonna break that answer down into kind of two different pathways. Like, if you already have an OG Ally, I would say, no, you don't have to. But I think if you can sell that one and you can get a decent amount of money for it, then I would just say, and all you got to do is maybe put a few $100s to upgrade to the Ally X, then I would say, yes, it is 100% worth it. But again, it's not necessary. But I promise you, you will notice a difference for sure. But on the other hand, I also would probably just wait until they come out with the Ally Gen 2 model, which I'm actually hoping they give us that OLED screen that I've been asking for in this video here, as well as they would give us a better stand. Hopefully we get something, either the kickstand on the back and we can throw away, you know, the damn cardboard pieces that we got. And yeah, I'm still on their necks for it, but it's all love, y'all. ASUS, I still got love for you, but we gotta get rid of the stands. But let's just say you guys are also somebody out there who doesn't have anything, right? And like, you don't have any gaming PC handhelds and you just out there on the market and you're looking for one, then I would say without a doubt, the ROG Ally X to me by far is one of the best on the market all around right now, leading in the space of gaming handheld PCs with all of the improvements that they've made to this model right here going forward. This to me is probably the one that is the perfect complement to my gaming PC that I recently showed you guys here on the channel. But yeah, that's pretty much about it, man. Like, I just wanted to get on here, just throw in my 2 cents of my 1 week later here with the ROG Ally X. And to me, y'all, it's damn good. I feel like they made a lot of good improvements with this, man. So if you guys got any questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Squad, we out.